Yeah, greetings to you in the name of Jesus. I welcome you to Bible study made easy. I welcome you specially. So today we are going to be talking about the writers of the New Testament books. So who are the writers? Who wrote it? Most of us we don't even know who wrote these New Testament books. So we're going to start with Genesis. Who wrote Genesis? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Number, Deuteronomy are written by Moses. They are all written by Moses, and it's not like it is different book entirely. It is just one book Bible, but they have to just split into 5, and it's called Pentateuch. Some call it 5 law of Moses, but then it was written by Moses, and each has its own meaning. That is why it is actually splitted for easy reading and stuff. Like Genesis is just like the starting of something, like generation. You understand? It's just the starting of the thing. Just like Matthew chapter 1 verse 1, also Matthew is also the genesis of the New Testament. That's how Genesis is also. So we're going to Joshua. So who wrote Joshua? So Joshua, the book of Joshua was not necessarily written by Joshua. You understand? Because the writer, some believe that it was written by Phineas. I think Dr. Lightfoot believed that it was, and Bishop Patrick believed that it was written by Bishop by himself. But it was named Joshua not because Joshua wrote it, but probably because we're talking about Joshua. And even if Joshua didn't write the book of Joshua, it is likely taken from his jotter or from his book. You understand? But it was written concerning Joshua, how that he led people of Israel and stuff. So now, the book of Judges. Who wrote the book of Judges? It was Prophet Samuel that wrote. It is likely Prophet Samuel that wrote the book of Judges. And who wrote the book of Ruth? The book of Ruth was written by Prophet Samuel also. So it was likely Prophet Samuel. So 1 Samuel. So in the book of, let's say 1 Samuel, Samuel actually, I think the first chapter 25, Samuel was alive. In the first phase of 1 Samuel, Samuel was alive. So Samuel wrote the book of Samuel, likely. Or maybe he penned it down. The pen man of 1 Samuel, but actually it's likely that one of the prophet around David, like prophet that is David, also finished the book, and that is likely Prophet Nathan. So it is believed that Samuel wrote a part and then Prophet Nathan finished it. And also 2 Samuel, likely it is Prophet Nathan and Gad. So Prophet Nathan and Gad wrote 2 Samuel. So First King was written by Prophet Jeremiah. 2 King by Prophet Jeremiah. Yes, like Jeremiah. You can see that I'm mentioning likely because what happened is that these books, sometimes the historians, they are not like 100% sure that this is just, but with the writing of the person, they can actually denote that these are the people that wrote it. So First King, Prophet Jeremiah, 2 King, Prophet Jeremiah, 1 Chronicle, Ezra wrote it. 2 Chronicle, Ezra also wrote it. So this First Chronicle and 2 Chronicle is more of repetition of what has been said. So actually, historians did not really get who wrote it, but there was one time that Ezra was actually combining when the law was forgotten. There are some stories, that are forgotten already. There's some history that have been forgotten already. So Ezra actually brought about bringing them back. It is more of repetition, but it's not a tautology. But it's just bringing stories that have been written in the past, bringing them back and stuff. But this chronicle would have been removed from the Bible, but then there's some information in this chronicle that you cannot find in other books. So they have to actually let it remain like that. You understand? Basically. So who wrote Ezra? Ezra was written by Ezra. The next book is the book of Nehemiah. Some people call it the second book of Ezra. But then it's not because it was written by Ezra. It was written by Nehemiah actually. So but then because it's just like the continuation of what he was saying. So the next book is Esther. Esther was written by Mordecai. So actually Mordecai wrote letter to the Jew. The letter that was written inside the book, in the book of Esther, was written by Mordecai. So people believe that for Mordecai to have written the letter, so it is likely he wrote the book. So basically, so Job, the book of Job. Job is an ancient book, and some people believe that it was written in the time of Abraham. Job was the way people look at Job, they feel like was written later time, you know. So Job was probably written by Moses when he was in media. So a school of thought believe that he was written by Moses when he was in media, and over to his brothers and sisters in Egypt. You know, they were going through persecution, and you know, so you have to just tell them how that God can actually save them. And even if they are applying to persecution, God is going to reward them bountifully. So some people believe that some utterly believe that it was written in Arabic and translated by Solomon later or other writers to the Jewish church. That was what people believe. And you know, a school of thought believe that it was written by Eli. Why some believe that probably Job wrote it himself. But the writer of Job is not really specified, you understand? So the next one is Psalm, the book of Psalm. The book of Psalm was, let's say, generally written by David. But it was not only David, right? It was not only David that wrote it. But you know, even in the New Testament, some writers on the New Testament actually point, even that there are some that the title was not written by, it was not David that was written there. They still point to David as the writer of those Psalms. Asaph also wrote there. You understand? There are a lot of people that wrote the Psalm. But even the writer of the sometimes they point to David as the writer of some book, even if David is not the writer. So basically, but we can actually see that it was David that actually wrote most of the song, right? So the book of Proverbs was written by Solomon. Right? So the book of Ecclesiastes was written by Solomon also, and Song of Solomon was written by Solomon. Some believe that I think Song of Solomon was written when David was still very young. You understand? He was young, and some believe that Proverbs was written while he was a youth and in power, and the book of Ecclesiastes was written when he was already old. So the book of Isaiah, the book of Isaiah was written by Isaiah. Yes, these books were written by like Jeremiah, Lamentation by Jeremiah, Ezekiel by Ezekiel, Daniel by Daniel, Hosea by Hosea, Joel by Joel, Amos by Prophet Amos, Obadiah by Prophet Obadiah, Jonah is likely written by Jonah. Yes, he's a prophet, right? Prophet Jonah. He imputed his mistakes and other things even in the writing. So probably just wrote it there so that I can teach others a lesson so that they can be aware of something. So the book of Micah, I think I Prophet Micah. Now Habakkuk by Habakkuk, Zephaniah by Zephaniah, the book of Haggai by Haggai, Zechariah by Zechariah, Malachi by Prophet Malachi. So this book were written by all these writers. Yes. So basically, thank you for actually watching from the beginning until now. These are the writers. So the next episode or next video we're going to be talking about the writers of the New Testament. So stay tuned today. God bless you.